Hi, I'm Marisa Mariella, and welcome to my Easy Kitchen for Hamilton City Magazine. All right, I am so excited to introduce this cake to you. Why? Because it's called Strawberry Fun Cake, and it's a one bowl cake. This is the ultimate sweet treat for experienced bakers or new bakers. So I hope you can follow along, and then you need to give this a try. So we're gonna get started right away. I have here some beautiful fresh lemons, and we're gonna use the zest. So you notice my bowl is empty. So yes, it's empty because we're going to grate, oh, it smells so good. We're gonna grate this lemon and add the sugar. And then I'm gonna show you what we're gonna do with that. When you're zesting the lemon, don't get any of the white pissy part because that will make your cake very bitter and we don't want that. Okay, so I think that's good enough. You get the idea. If you don't have one of these, then you can certainly use one of these to grate. They work just as well. All right, so I have here a half a cup of sugar. And the sugar is really not a lot for this cake. So do you see what I'm doing? Okay, this is the moment where you are mindful about what you are baking, and I'm going to enjoy the aroma, the fragrance of that beautiful lemon. Oh, it's great. Summer's around the corner. We're enjoying local strawberries, and we're gonna have fun making this cake. Okay, I think that's good enough. And you can tell that the sugar is going a little bit yellow, and what you're doing now is using all those essential oils from the lemon. Okay, we're gonna get ready with our eggs. So only 2 eggs. If you feel nervous, you can crack the eggs in a little bowl and then add it, but I'm gonna take my chances. I'm not gonna get any eggshells. Not that I've never done that before. Okay, and I've got my whisk, and I'm gonna give this a good whisk here. Look at that. If you don't have a fancy whisk, then just use a fork. It'll work just fine. So what we're trying to do, I'm gonna stop whisking. What we're trying to do is to get that sugar to dissolve. So if I get my fingers in there, I can still feel the grittiness of that sugar. So I'm gonna keep whisking probably about 4 or 5 minutes until when I go feel it, there's no grittiness. It's my workout. Okay, I think it's good enough. I'm going to give that a little feel. All right, there's no grittiness there. I'm gonna get rid of this. There we go. I'm gonna give that a wipe. All right, so we've got our eggs, the sugar, and the lemon zest. It's time to add a half a cup of milk. If you'd like to keep this dairy-free, then use non-dairy beverage. I'm just going to add it very slowly. Yeah. Kind of looks like we're making pancakes. All right. And then I have a neutral oil, so it's a half a cup. I believe this is grapeseed oil. Or no, this one's avocado oil. But any neutral oil will work. And you just want to drizzle it slowly. All right, so we have the milk and the oil. We're gonna add a little bit of almond extract. Okay, so I'm gonna be very careful. I'm gonna eyeball it. Okay, that's about a teaspoon. If you don't like almond extract, you can leave it out, or you can add a little vanilla extract. That would work too. Oh, I can smell the almonds. That's beautiful. All right, I'm gonna push this to the side, and it's time to sift the flour. So I said that this was a fun cake. Did I say it was easy? Because it's only one bowl. And to avoid a second bowl, because I don't want to wash it, I'm going to use some parchment paper here to sift the flour. And we're going to use 2 cups of flour. This is nice and fluffy. So I'm going to just gently get about 2 cups. I could spoon it in, but then I have to dirty a spoon. So anyway, that's about a cup right there. This is doppio zero flour. Actually, I am doing a spoon. Doppio zero flour is a very soft, finely milled flour that's going to make this cake with a very tender crust. So, not crust, crumb. So it's going to be absolutely delicious. If you don't use doppio zero or the double zero, then what you can do is just use all-purpose. Have a tablespoon of baking powder and just a pinch of salt. So actually I have to tell you, when I'm sifting on parchment paper, this connects me to my mom because I remember when she would bake, she would sift on paper, on wax paper. So I think that's probably another reason why I do it like this. Okay, so that's done, and we're going to add the flour to the egg mixture here. We're saving my strawberries till the end. I'm gonna get a bigger spoon. There we go. And we're going to add the flour very slowly. Okay, it's a two-handed job. Okay, if you're not coordinated to use two hands, then you can just use one at a time. Okay, I think my dog is here wondering what I'm doing. So 1 big tablespoon, and I'm mixing it in. Doesn't look like cake batter yet. You just wait. This is the kind of cake where, you know, you want a little bit of company, so you invite your friends over. You know, it's a beautiful evening or afternoon. You want to sit on the patio, and you make this cake. So by the time they get here, it's already in the oven. And then you can enjoy this beautiful fun cake with those ruby red strawberries and a hint of lemon and that almond extract. And wait till you see the topping I make. It's just gonna be so delicious. Easy so far, right? Come on, I'm not really intimidating you with this. I wanna see you make this cake. Okay, so I'm just using the whisk to really get all that flour in there. And I'm going to add the rest of the flour like this. I'm not using this parchment paper just once. There we go. I'm going to use it to line the cake pan later. So we are reusing that. Okay, so you can tell now it's getting a little bit thicker. We don't want any lumps. I'm just slowly working it in. And then we're going to cut up the strawberries. So I don't cut up the strawberries first, because what happens is then they get a little bit juicy and we don't want all that juice in there. Then they'll sink to the bottom and we don't want that to happen. Okay, so see how that looks? It's like a cake batter, right? No lumps. It's nice and thick. Very nice. Okay, so I'm gonna clean up my whisk. I'm gonna try to get as much out of there as possible. And like I said, you can use a fork. Actually, if you use a fork, it's a little bit easier to clean up. But this is gonna be so good. All right, I'm gonna put that over here, put this to the side, and let's cut up the strawberries. So if you've never gone strawberry picking, I'm telling you, it is so much fun. And I don't know if you're allowed to, but like you pick one for the basket and then you eat one. Pick one and eat one. I don't know if that's all right to do, but anyway, I do that. So we're gonna get maybe about 1.5 cups of sliced strawberries. Look how beautiful these are. So I don't really take out the little core in there because these are so fresh and tender. I don't really have to do anything to it other than take off the stem. Okay, I'm gonna slice these up, just show you a few and then I'll slice up the rest. So we want thin slices, so very thin. I don't really care how you slice them up, but just make sure that they are thin slices. Just like that. Okay, I'm gonna finish up slicing them and then we'll add them to the cake batter. So when you're using strawberries to bake, make sure you use unblemished, firm strawberries. If they're too ripe, they'll go too mushy for you. So you notice with a paper towel, I'm just drying off any of the juice. And I'm gonna add it, just put it in my bowl. And we don't want them to sink in the cake. I mean, if it happens, no big deal, right? I'm just gonna add a little bit of flour. And I'm gonna give that a little toss. That flour that coats the strawberries will help them to kind of like stay in their position in the batter. Okay, so in they go. That's about maybe 1.5 cups. You can eyeball it. You don't have to be that precise for it. And we're gonna fold it in. Look at the colors. That beautiful pale yellow and the ruby red strawberries. Okay, you need to be here to smell this because I'm telling you, I smell the lemon, the strawberries, the almond. Okay, I think that's good. And you think, how can 2 eggs make a cake? Only 2 eggs. So I've got my pan here and I've got my parchment paper. We're going to line the bottom. So this is, I think, like a 9-inch, 10-inch. You can use whatever cake pan you want, but I would suggest that you line it with parchment paper. Because the last thing you want is for your cake not to come out of your pan. Not that that's never happened to me. All right, so I'm gonna use just a little bit of butter here. See, that's a little bit big, right? Can you tell it's a little bit big? I could let it go, but I just can't. I'm gonna just redo it a little bit, cut off a little bit more. And that way I'm sure that it's gonna cover the bottom. Yeah, there we go. Okay, so I'm using a little bit of soft butter here. Just give that a quick wipe. And because my batter, or not my batter, but my pan, it has these little ridges here, I'm really gonna work that butter in there because I don't want the cake to get stuck in there. So I love the way that looks. This is probably, you know, for a quiche or something, but I think it's gonna look great with this cake. Okay, and I put this in and I give that a quick little rub. And then take it off. That's the buttered side and in it goes. There we go. Wait till you see the topping, it's so nice. A little bit of flour. Get that all the way around. Okay, let's get this batter in. So because it's a thick batter, oh, I dropped a little batter here. I'm not gonna waste that. Okay, because it is a thick batter, you want to spread that out. If you don't have an offset spatula, then just use the back of the spoon. It'll work just fine. We're gonna just work that around and get that all even. Okay, so my oven is preheated 350 degrees. Make sure that your oven is on for at least like I would say a half hour before you actually bake anything. It's got to really reach that temperature. I'm gonna move this over to the side and I'll show you the topping. So if you want to keep it really, really simple, then I would just bake it like that. Or you could throw a little bit more of the sliced strawberries, sprinkle a little sugar, and then bake it. You could do that. But I think once you see my topping, you're gonna use this idea for a lot of different things. Okay, so I have 1 egg yolk. So remember I said 1 bowl? I'm gonna use that same bowl. So egg yolk, no. 1 egg white. There we go, 1 egg white in there. I'm gonna give that a little stir. Okay, did I tell you you're gonna get a workout with this recipe? There we go. So it's okay that I have a little bit of batter in there. It's gonna all work out just fine. I have maybe 2 tablespoons of sugar. Maybe 3. You know what, you can eyeball it and decide for yourself what you want. So really what we're doing here is like a little meringue. So I'm gonna go really fast. Ugh. I have here about 3 tablespoons of almond flour. If you don't have almond flour, just use some cornstarch. Maybe about a tablespoon of cornstarch or 3 tablespoons of almond flour. Okay, there we go. And then of course, we're picking up on that almond flavoring. And I have here some sliced almonds. I think that's fine. Okay, so this looks really thick, but this is exactly the way it's supposed to look. And now we go back to this. And you're gonna very carefully just spoon this on the top. You're not spreading it around, you're just kind of spooning it. Make sure you use it all up. And it's gonna give it this little crunch to it, little sweetness. You're gonna get those golden almonds in there. It's a really lovely, unexpected surprise when you eat this cake. Okay, I'm gonna finish up and it's going into the oven for about maybe 30 minutes. Use the toothpick to test that it's done. All right, so this cake is perfect the way it is. You don't really need anything else. But you know, it's summer or almost summer, and who can resist strawberry cake, fun cake with ice cream? So I have some beautiful vanilla ice cream, and of course then I just think it needs a little bit of a sauce. So I am chopping up some more of these strawberries. You know, I never really gave it a taste test to see if these are good or not. Hang on, let me see. Wow. So sweet. They taste like candy. Nothing like those strawberries that we get in the winter time, right? Okay. So I've got here probably another 1.5 cups of strawberries, and we're gonna add some sugar. So they're already pretty sweet. So maybe just a couple of tablespoons of sugar, and maybe just a little bit of water, a couple of tablespoons. And remember, we zested that lemon, so I'm gonna add a little bit of lemon juice. This one has no pips. Okay, so I'm gonna put this on the stove to simmer for about 15-20 minutes until it's bubbly hot and thick. Remember I said it's strawberry fun cake. I had a lot of fun making it. I'm gonna have even more fun eating it. So remember what I said? This is the perfect size to share with your family or friends. Sure, you can eat it by yourself. Or you know, maybe there's a neighbor or a coworker that maybe they're a little bit under the weather. Make them this cake and just show your care for them by bringing them a little something sweet. Okay, here we go, let's see. First piece is always the toughest. Look at that, you see all the little ruby red strawberries, and they didn't sink. Okay, I'm putting that on my platter here, my little plate, and I'll cut one for you too. So, nice and big, because it's not a really tall cake. You know, as far as the Italian culture goes, they don't really have dessert after dinner. Like a bowl of fruit would be their dessert. But they would have a piece of cake for breakfast or even in the afternoon. With, of course, a little espresso. Here's some vanilla ice cream. We'll just do a little dollop of that. You could use whipped cream if you like. And if you're trying to keep this dairy-free, then of course use dairy-free ice cream. Okay, is that enough ice cream? I don't know. Is it ever enough ice cream? Okay, let's add some of this strawberry sauce. So it has cooled, so it's just thick enough. This would be so nice on pancakes or just on ice cream itself. But when you add it to a cake like this, okay, look how pretty that looks. Maybe drizzle some on the cake. Look at that. And maybe a little bit of the toasted almonds. Remember I said this is so easy? You don't have to go this extra mile, but honestly, it's just so easy to do this. Okay, there we go. I'm gonna taste it for you, and I'll let you know what it tastes like. So soft, cuts beautifully. Okay, I probably took a piece that's too big. Okay. So perfect. Okay, one bowl strawberry fun cake. My goodness, call your family and friends over, make this cake for them. Thank you so much for joining me, Marisa, Mariella, for Hamilton City Magazine. We'll see you next time. I've got to go finish this piece. So good. Okay, and I'm not acting. Wow.
Marisa's Easy Kitchen is made possible with the support of Nardini's Specialties. You simply must come in for the Nardini's experience.